was born on the Feast of the Annunciation and baptized on Easter. This start, particularly the Feast of the Annunciation, when Mary said yes, has been a touchstone for so many important moments in my life. I'm the oldest of three and have the telltale birth order characteristics of the oldest child. I'm the responsible one. I have high expectations for myself and others, and I'm driven. And this next characteristic, I'm not sure it's always that of the oldest child, but I was given a good dose of impatience. So you put all that together, and you have a woman of action. So what did God ask of me? To wait. He asked me to step back and yield to him, as Mary did when she said, "Thy will be done." As a young adult, I always had a sense that God had a path for my life, and I was quite certain it involved being a wife and a mother. After college, I began a career in banking in downtown Minneapolis, and as time progressed, my friends around me started to marry, but God asked me to wait. A fine young associate priest at St. Olaf, which was my parish, knew of my struggle with this, and he said to me that God doesn't put a desire in your heart if he doesn't mean to fulfill it. He will fulfill it in his time, of course, or he will take it away and replace it with something else. This gave me such comfort then, as it does even to this day, and really helped me trust further in God's will for my life. So a few years go by, and now I'm 35. I have a full and fulfilling life, but something was stirring in me. That call to marriage was still there, but had not been fulfilled. And while I knew that a job could not take the place of marriage and family, I really felt that I wanted to find work that was closer to my heart. So with the help of two amazing nuns that God put in my life, I discerned a new path. I decided that I wanted to work somehow in the church. I wasn't sure what it would be, but that's what I decided. So I started graduate studies in theology and eventually was led to a job at Catholic Charities. My prayer so often during that time of discernment was, if Mary said yes, so can I. I had a great job. I didn't need to leave it, but I knew that there was something else for me. And so by making room in my life to hear God speak to me through those two wonderful nuns, through prayer and the sacraments, I knew what I needed to do. I knew that by opening myself to God and saying yes, as Mary did, this is what he had for me. So now I'm 40, and guess what? Still not married. The desire was still in my heart. God hadn't taken it away and replaced it with something else. So, being a woman of action and a marketing professional, I thought I should give God some help. So, I put an ad in the Pioneer Press, a personal ad in the Pioneer Press and the Star Tribune, and I started praying for my future husband, whoever he would be. At the same time, there was a man in Egan who was saying a novena to St. Joseph for a wife. And his mother, 85 years old, in Mankato, reading the personal ads in the Pioneer Press. And in her words, she said that God pushed her head down and she saw the ad. My wait was over. We got married at St. Olaf. I was 44, Joe was 47, and that same priest who 20 years earlier had given me those encouraging words presided at our wedding. As we walked up the aisle and stood at the foot of the altar after the opening song, Father looked out to everyone and he greeted the congregation with these words: "We've all waited a really long time for this day." And you can imagine, laughter and smiles filled the church. As I live out my faith in my marriage, it has become so clear to me that our Catholic faith is meant to be shared. In our sacramental marriage, it's not just for us, but it shapes who we are in the world. As Joe and I strive to live out our marriage call to be life-giving, we do that by going beyond ourselves to serve others, our aging parents, our nieces and nephews, our friends, and the community. And we hold each other accountable to the sacrament of reconciliation because we know it frees us to be the best people we can be in our work and in our relationships. I have a long way to go on the path to holiness. And while I don't know what God has in store for me, I am certain about my response. If Mary said yes, so can I. Thank you.